Welcome back to another episode of Going Direct. Today we have L2881 President Tim Edwards, and we're joined by our guest Tyler Smith, who is a founder of 100 Health, which is our newest member benefit. I believe you guys joined kind of a benefit back in like April-ish or so.
Yeah.
And 100 Health, for those who don't know, is a company that tests your blood biomarkers to see your overall health of who you are.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us. And I'm going to get started and throw over to you if you want to give us a little background on who you are and why you started 100 Health.
Yeah. So, 100 Health came out of my own need. When I just turned 39, my wife and I were conceiving our first child, someone who's a little bit of a later father. I thought, one, I should probably think about, what I want to do as I start to think about my daughter coming into the world. And so some of my friends and I got together. They were all later fathers as well. And we took this biological age test. And I'm like, I'm going to crush this thing. I feel healthy. I look healthy. And so I took this test. It just turned 39 and it would tell me I'm 47 years old. So a lot of things went through my head at that time. One is my father died from a heart attack at 47. So mentally it played into my psyche a little. But also two, as a later father, I start to think about life differently. Before it was just me, it was simple. Then I got a spouse and her and I have to think about her a little bit more. And now I have a child coming into the world. It's like you start to think, when are they going to be driving? What's prom look like? Empty nester. And I think when you have offspring, you should start to think about that. And so right away, when I saw that bad data, I said, I've got to correct this. And I hired some really great professionals, from a private clinician to a human biologist. I hired a chef, a board certified nutritionist. So I went all in. And the biggest thing that came out of that was I'm flying blind. And many people are. We might feel good or we might feel normal. And maybe we just forget what normal should feel like. The great news is I took that same test. I reversed my biological age quite a bit. But what I found was several different things in there. One, that I know nothing about health. And I thought I was really active. Like for me, my life was, I'm going to go work out, and the more I sweat, the better the workout is. But I wasn't doing strength training, right? Or if I burn all these calories, I can go down to happy hour and drink mimosas and eat all these pancakes. And so I had all these preconditioned ideas in my head that were not really true. Like I thought I had a gene that helped me operate with very little sleep. And so I actually did well with very little sleep until I realized, man, I have way more energy with more sleep. And I used to brag like, look, I can work out at 4 a.m. All my friends are sleeping still and operate with this little amount of sleep. And so I changed all of that. And a couple things happened. One is I had a lot more energy. I was a lot more inspired. All the things that I thought were normal changed to be even new highs. The second thing was I realized was like, look, all my friends and family wanted to join, and these programs were really expensive, hard to get into. So the access wasn't there. And then the third thing is I saw a massive amount of change, just not only mentally, but also physically. And when I started to think about the state of America, look, we're in a world where overall, big population is obese, a lot of chronic diseases. We spend all this money, but people still die early. The data is really messy and it's in silos. And then at the end of the day, it's really hard to scale humans, doctors in this case. And so I said, I just have to build this. It's my calling to build something that really helps people find early detection, which I think is really important. To think about prevention and not reactive. If you think about it, doctors are incentivized when you're not doing well, right? You go into the doctor usually when you're not well, which is kind of backwards. And we don't call people really patients. We call them users. We don't ever really want them to be a patient. So that means you have to get onto things early. And so we want to really find early detection, and we do it through several different ways, which we can talk about what 100 does and how we do that. But that's where the idea came from. And my background is in technology. I like to build technology. 100 is a mobile app. So it's easy. We all know how to use this thing called the phone. We're all using it all the time. And so we're built on Android now and also iPhone. And it's really easy to use. My number one goal is if my mom can use this without calling me, she's 71 years old, then we did really well. And one, she's always calling me, but it's not on how do I use it. It's on, I love this. How do I get one of my girlfriends on this? And because it's really easy to use, but also easy to really interpret the results and then take action on them.
So you answered I was going to ask you what your background was before this, and it's technology. What were you doing in technology before this?
Yeah. So I'm now 42. I got into real estate at an age of 19, really young. And the foreclosure market had just come. So I bought a house at 19. They'd give everyone loans back then. Remember the subprime mortgage.
Yep.
If you can fog a mirror, you can get a loan, right?
Yep.
So I got a loan and they loaned this young 19-year-old like almost $300,000, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And the market crashes and I was like, okay, I want to be in real estate and I want to help these banks really offload these assets that are distressed at this point to have better earnings for Wall Street. So I scaled that business and I had over 1,000 assets under management. And I saw something happening, which was real estate, but it was happening offline. And I wanted to bring it from, offline to online. And so what I saw was all these files are happening. This was back when people were faxing back documents back and forth. And I said, there's this thing called the cloud coming out. Nobody knows what it is. They're looking for it in the air. And I just think there's a better way to store these files that are really compliant and needed. So I built something for my own practice that was called Smith Premier Properties Portal Inc.com, the longest, ugliest domain name ever, but it was never supposed to be a business. And then eventually that turned into a company called SkySlope. And SkySlope manages every real estate transaction from the contract all the way to the close and then beyond. So SkySlope right now has 900,000 realtors that use that software. It manages 2/3 of all transactions in North America. And I had to learn a lot of things from wire fraud, tying into the banks, tying into the Bureau of Real Estate. So a lot of compliance. And I learned a lot in technology. And I ended up selling that company to Fidelity. And that's when I got my first kick into health. I thought I'm healthy, I'm successful, and I took that biological age test. And that's when everything shifted from, okay, what do I do now to this is my calling? How do I bring this really expensive thing that I paid for at a really affordable cost to millions of people?
Now you say you were into health. Is that more in the health and physical fitness, or did you actually go to regular doctor visits and follow-ups?
I mean, think about it.
Because that's where I'm going, because that's most firefighters.
Annual physical didn't even register. I think usually even males. Males that are younger never go to the doctor. They just don't. Females more so. They go in for routine checkups. And we see that in the data as well. But I was like, look, I'm healthy. Like I'm moving, I work out, I feel pretty good. If I get sore, it recovers pretty well. And so I say that because I honestly believe most Americans are flying blind. We think we're doing well because we compare ourselves to maybe other people, or I don't look that bad, right? Like I'm doing better than this person. Or you go to a class, whether that's a physical class, and you're like, I'm doing better than the other person here. That's how we gauge ourselves. So no, I wasn't, when I think about I was healthy, I felt healthy. I didn't have any problems. Nothing was pulling me into the doctor, the hospital. I thought I worked out pretty well. I ate pretty decent. But when you actually break it down, I was doing wrong workouts, like sweating is great. But I was like, this kind of skinny fat. I was like, whoa, look at how great I am. I'm doing this. I didn't have a lot of muscle mass, which is crazy. To think about, because we all think like sweat equals good. When I switched over to strength training, it was tough because I didn't sweat that much. Or I looked at my Apple Watch and I burned half the calories. So mentally, it took me a good 2 months to really just stick to the program, stick to the process, dive into this. Because I probably would have just not done it if this didn't happen. Because in my mind, if I'm not sweating or if I'm not burning the right amount of calories, I'm not getting the return I think I should get. But that's all subjective to our minds and what we tell ourselves.
Yeah. See, I'm a little opposite. You talk about your dad dying at 47. Mine died at 45 of lung cancer.
Wow.
So I was early on kind of like, I'm going to get a physical test every year. And then after going multiple years, it was like, well, it's the same every year. Why continue going? Right. So I actually stopped going, just the opposite. So
I will also say most of the physicals that you go to, 100 pulls 160 markers. You couldn't, if you went to your doctor and said, here's a list, I want you to pull these markers, they wouldn't do it. They couldn't. Insurance will cover it. Number one. Number two, they'll say, well, why are we testing this? Your ApoB, like, well, why does that even matter? Like, you're pretty healthy. You have any symptoms? No, you're good. We don't need to do that. And that's one of the biggest problems and challenges is we go to the doctor, they ask us questions. Oh, you feel good. You're young. You're good, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. And some of these things I'd call are slow killers. So, you can fix that down the road when you have more time or it's really become a problem. That's reactive. And that's pretty common. It's a reactive side of America. But I think in this world is how do we think about proactive? How do we catch things early? Because it's harder to diagnose things when It's later in the game when there is a real problem. So it's really tough when you go to the doctor, your primary care. That's even if you go, you're on top of it. Great. Right. And you had a reason why though. Think about it. You had a reason from your father. Yeah. I had a reason for my father. I still didn't go.
Yeah.
So that's rare that people go into the doctor for their annual physical. And I would argue annual physical is great, but there's challenges with it because I think humans in general go, okay, well, I saw my doctor. They gave me these rules, these things to do. Maybe I'll start next month or maybe a couple months. I have a whole year till I see him. It's like the dentist, right? Yeah. We all floss more before we go to the dentist. We all brush extra when we know we're going to the dentist. Yeah. It's the same similar approach here, what I have found with a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with you on one thing is I didn't start going back to the doctor. And I think the year I started going back to my physical came back great, right? All my blood work, good. End up going to another type of medical appointment and found thyroid cancer. And nowhere along the way did the blood work from my doctors picked up a thyroid problem. Yeah. And you would think it would because they check your thyroid, blood. Yeah. So then I was like, wow, these blood works, I don't even know if they're accurate.
Yeah. We find that's pretty common. And they might have tested, I don't know what they tested, but sometimes they'll test, the bare minimum markers. I mean, we're doing 160 markers. It's quite extensive. You're going to go into one of our labs or have a mobile phlebotomist come to your house and they're going to pull, 14 vials of blood and urine. Yeah. So it's really in depth. And what's great about that is you get a very clear picture on this baseline. Yeah. It tells you everything and you'll understand it. You'll like what everyone does. They go to the first ones, which is out of range. Where am I out of range? The red, right? I want to fix the red. And we'll educate you from a way where you can, one, understand, but two, is this something that I need to be concerned about? Or is this like, oh, it's slightly elevated, not a problem. Here's what to do to get back on the right track. And I think the first thing is instead of guessing, start testing, right? I always ask people, do you take supplements? Oh yeah. I'm like, why do you take them? Well, my wife told me to take them, or, hey, I saw someone with a 6-pack on YouTube and he takes them or she takes them, which is true, right? We're all
good for male health, right?
Exactly. And so I always say look, if your body is naturally deficient, which all of ours are, and everyone's very unique, let's test first, then just make educated guesses because it becomes expensive urine, and we want to make sure we're using interventions for the right things that are out of range.
Yeah, I would agree with you that the baseline that they do is very bare minimum, and they look for these certain ranges, and as long as you're within those ranges, you're good. Because they're not looking for anything else until you actually have the problem.
Correct.
Then they start looking for it.
And that's the problem right there is it's reactive. You only go, doctors aren't incentivized when you're doing well. They're like, you're doing well, get out of my office. Come on, get out of here. They're incentivized when you're ill or there's something going on. And it's a little bit backwards. It's funny, my mom grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it was, the doctor used to go to her house. That's the olden days. It's like you knew the doctor, you trusted everything the doctor said, the doctor come to your house. Then it was, okay, now I go to the doctor and it's hard even to get in and there's wait times. The average time a patient and a physician visit is less than 12 minutes right now.
Yep.
So I can't even tell you what's going on with me, what's wrong for you to test me. It's hard to even get that information out in that length of time. And so it's hard for people to be educated, to understand what's going on, and then also to get the care that they really need. And 100 solves a lot of those problems.
Yeah. When you go to a doctor, and I just went to mine, my annual physical, I'm going to get blood work, and you tell them you feel tired or something like that. Oh, you get more sleep or lose weight, and then go get your blood test and come back. So like you said, I think mine was a 10-minute appointment for an hour wait.
There you go. Isn't that?
A 10-minute appointment for an hour wait just to tell me just go eat better and then come back with your basic level blood work. Yeah, all they're going to give me.
It's pretty sad. And I get it. It's. I don't blame the doctors because they're limited with time. Just the system's not set up for this type of thinking. And I think it's only going to get better. And now with technology, we're able to do a lot of things and bring it to a really affordable price where people are they're like hungry for this because they're like, they waited an hour, they saw their doctor for 10 minutes. And it's basic information, eat better, sleep better, and ours will be very clear with very clear steps on what to do. We'll track your habits of what you're supposed to do. And then we'll give you feedback on how you're even doing, which is really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, it will be interesting because I take a lot of vitamins now based on the fact that I was told to do it because I no longer have a thyroid. You need to do some of these to regulate. So it'll be interesting to see what those vitamins and supplements are actually doing.
I'll break down why. I mean, it's a good transition. So What we do at 100 is when you download the app, the first thing you do is take a photo of your ID, you verify your identity. Why do we do that? It's really important for us to know you are who you are, because we're going to go in and we're going to pull all of your medical records. So think about that. If I asked you, where were you diagnosed with a thyroid issue and what hospital and what was your doctor? You'd be like, I don't know.
I know.
Okay. So
I'm one of those ones that wouldn't know, but a lot of people wouldn't.
A lot of people wouldn't. Or, hey, when you had that ACL tear 10 years ago, where was it? Yeah. So what we do is we tie into over 400 institutions. We pull in all of your medical history. So I'll give you an example. My mom's 71. She's been to the doctor 377 times. She has every condition in there, every diagnosis, every prescription she's ever had, any clinical notes, any imaging, any scans, all of it pulls in. That's the very first thing we do. And that's really important, because how can we tell Tim what to do if we don't know Tim's past? So that's number one. The second thing we do is we call it the Ronald Reagan, we trust but verify. Hey, Tim, are you still on these prescriptions for the thyroid? Or, hey, are you still exercising like this? Or, hey, do you still have this chronic condition? Or, hey, is your knee from the ACL tear, are you able to move? Because we don't want to tell you to jump rope if you have a bad knee, right? So that's the second thing we do. So now we go, this is who Tim was. This is who Tim's confirmed he is today. Now let's schedule your blood work. Scheduling your blood work is super simple. It's all through the app. You can go to one of our 5,000 labs, from Quest to LabCorp to BioReference, or you can have someone come directly to your house. They'll pull your blood. Once that's done, you then attach any wearables. If you have no wearables, totally fine. If you have an Apple Watch or you have a Ring or a Whoop or a Garmin, we pull that in. So now I'll take a second and stop and think. We have who Tim was historically, right? Any type of chronic condition, prescriptions he's been on. We know who he is today. He's told us that. I'm still managing these conditions, or those are gone. Those have been gone. Great. We now have a very good baseline of your blood work, and we have how you're moving, if you have a wearable. And that's from sleeping, your HRV, your blood pressure, anything around that. We have more than you just went to your doctor. We have more understanding of you than your doctor when you saw them for 10 minutes.
Oh, I bet, because it's never the same doctor these days.
Correct.
Also,
and they don't have that for them to even review this. They're on to the next patient.
Yeah.
And so now what we do is we have a really good understanding. And now we go, okay, great. Here's the data back so you can understand it. You can geek out and read on it. And we make it really easy to understand. But we also compare you to your peers. So for a male at this age, here's where your testosterone should be, or here's where your cholesterol should be, or here's where these B level vitamin deficiencies should be. And now you can say like, oh, I'm in the top 1%. I'm doing good. Or, oh, I got some work to do here. And then just that alone is really valuable. But most people want to know, what do I do now? And what supplements do I take?
Yeah.
And so we now give you a 100-day protocol. And we believe we've replaced the annual physical. One, because 100 days is going to keep Tim accountable. You're more likely to follow this 100-day pressure than this, I'll see my doctor in a year, I'm still stick with my habits for a couple months. Now it's like the countdown is here. It's 100 days. And by the way, Tim, if you follow these things, this is what you should see, from mental, from cognitive ability to physical. These are the things that you should expect in this 100-day program. This 100-day program and protocol has 3 areas. It first starts with the supplements. We'll say, hey, you're taking these supplements because you've told us on the intake. You don't need these supplements, or you do need to keep taking these, or here's some new ones you need to take. And we'll put the reasoning behind every one, the scientific rationale. So just like you said, it's like, I don't know why I'm taking these. You'll now know why you're taking these supplements. The second thing is nutrition. We'll tell you, here's what we need to do on your nutrition. Here's the foods you need to be eating, you need to be avoiding, and here's the targeted areas we're going to just focus on for the first 100 days. It's too hard to target the whole body in the first 100 days. It's only 100 days. It's microbites. So we're going to tell you in the first 100 days, this is what we're targeting. And then the last is exercise. Here are the best exercises for you. Here's the scientific rationale behind why these are important. And then what we do is we have you kind of put your thumb down and you pledge, I'm going to do this. It's kind of like a mental, mental pledge. Yeah, it's like a pledge. And then you're off. Yeah. And we do check-ins. We're checking in. How are you doing? You got some new supplements. You have GI issues or everything. Okay, nope, great. Did you take your supplements today? Hey, we saw from your wearables you did this exercise. And we are seeing already people go from all they do maybe is yoga or Pilates to, oh, this person's doing strength training now. Great. Or this person's actually going for a jog. And we're seeing habits form, which is really important. It's the first start. And I think we all know this. Once you kind of start on your journey, whatever that is, and you see some little results, whether that's cognitive or you start doubling down. You're like, ooh, I want to do more. Oh, let me get my friends involved. And now you form this kind of new way of health. But that's what we do. And then what happens is you go through your 100 days, You do your retest, which is included in what we do. We do 2 annual tests a year. And now you get to see improvement or not improvement. And what's great is it says like, here's where you've improved. And this is the magic moment. This is where everyone looks and goes, oh my gosh, this improved. The feeling of improvement is huge. We show you that you improved. You might still be out of range, but you're making slight improvement in your cholesterol, which is that stubborn marker that always catches up with us. But that's where the real moment is. And then what you do is you get a new protocol and you follow the next 100 days. And so this is what we've seen a lot of people really like, because they can see one improvement. They can see, I believe now why I'm taking this supplement, or before, I don't know, I'm taking it. I guess I feel good. Is it placebo? Is it not? Now you actually can see the data and see the improvement, which is really impactful.
So I have a question. Sorry.
Oh, no.
I have a question because I know how my members think.
Yeah.
You come from a background of IT.
Yeah.
And you say we, and they may think like, well, how's this guy really know about health?
Yeah.
If he's an IT guy, who's all these other we that are telling us how unhealthy we are, what we need to take? So who's your partners, or who's the ones making these decisions?
Yeah. So we have a chief medical officer. Her name is Dr. Eve Henry. We, by design, chose her for several reasons. Vanderbilt, Stanford, Princeton. She studies longevity, has a really great background in this. She had a private practice that was well over 6 figures to be part of. And it was really easy to go to her and say, you can bring what most people can't afford. They can't afford your practice, your services. We can scale this to the masses and allow for them to get that same level of care all through an app. So that's one. We also have folks from Harvard, Johns Hopkins Institute. We have a scientific advisory board of over 10 different individuals that all have specific specialties. So this is not Tyler, I have a team behind me. I'm here today to represent our team, to represent our company as the founder, but we have an entire team behind us of really great medical professionals that are dedicated to this mission that we're on, to really help people to achieve we call it to help you achieve your GOAT. Everyone wants to be a GOAT, right? But we spell it GHOAT, the greatest health of all time. So how do we help you achieve your greatest health of all time? And that's different for everyone. My mom, she just wants to go up and down the stairs with her grandkids, have a glass of wine at night. That's great. That's your GOAT, right? Me, I might want to dunk like LeBron James. Okay, maybe that's my GOAT. Everyone has a different sense. So we're not telling you, go vegan and don't, cheat. No, we want to meet you where you're at, which is really, really important. Yeah.
My question kind of piggybacked off Tim a little bit, because this is really meant to be a tool to kind of be your own advocate, right?
Yeah.
If you don't, some of the questions we've gotten, if we sign up for this, we're not given a doctor after. It's
Correct.
really meant to be, oh, I have these results. I can now then go to my doctor and say, hey,
Correct.
I'm concerned about this. Or, that's kind of like the idea, right? You're not assigned an actual primary care from 100 Health.
Yeah. So we are not replacing your primary care. We believe think about a car. You have car insurance. Something major happens, you use that insurance. But your insurance doesn't cover your tires, your new tires, your oil change, doesn't cover your gas, right? Your windshield wiper, all the maintenance. You pay cash for that. That's what you use. Same thing here. We believe that you should have insurance, obviously, and use your primary and your insurance when you need to use that. We've made this really affordable. Now, we are going to be doing prescriptions. It's already rolled out on a soft beta. A lot of people have come to us and said, look, where do I get my prescription? If I need to get a prescription, can I use you for that? We are rolling that out next month. And obviously you will be assigned to a physician, because you have to have a physician in the mix. But that will not replace your primary care physician. We believe that people will still go. And we have people that go today to their primary care physician and say, here are my results, or I'd like to get your thoughts. And inside the app, it's really educational. For example, every marker that you get back, we tell you where you stand, obviously, the scientific rationale, where you are against your peers. We'll break it down for you, but we'll also say, here's what your doctor is going to say. And here's the questions you might want to ask your doctor if you go. So we want you to go equipped, if you do want to go to your primary, to ask them these questions. But the app is so in depth that you're going to see everything that you need to. And then if you want to act, you can still go to your primary care physician and talk with them. And get their advice as well. Absolutely.
I think that's because when they found my thyroid cancer, it was through a body scan, and body scan even today is more accepted than it was when I found it. Right.
Correct.
So going to a doctor and saying, here's my results of my body scan, it was like false negatives. We're going to ignore you. How do you break that bridge? Because someone like me will take this to a doctor and I would almost suspect like, well, I didn't do those blood work. Those are all just whatever, right?
Yeah.
So how do you?
Yeah. So we've gotten that before. One, we're CLIA labs. So we use labs that they would understand. They usually will want you to send them the PDF, and we allow you to do that out of our app. Obviously, we don't show you a PDF. We have it in there, but it's going to not be easy to understand. Yeah. It's going to be hard to follow. We make it really user-friendly. So that's one. Two is we also, and it's so funny in false negatives, we hear that all the time as well. Yeah. We have access to specialty tests. So for example, my dad died from a heart attack. When I signed up for the app and went through it, it said, look, you'd be a great candidate to look at, to look at your heart.
Enzymes and all that.
Yep. Exactly. And do a CT scan. And I went and they put iodine in my arm. They looked through my heart and looked to see if I had plaque buildup. So that's an add-on test. We have several, we have over 25 where you can do deep heavy metals to microplastic tests to a full body MRI to a precancerous test with GRAIL, which is a blood test. We have several different tests. So what happens when you do those tests is one, they get into the platform, which is great. Two, we'll help you understand them because I think, as you know, you look at a CT scan, you're like, well, how do I even understand this? What we'll do is we'll help break that down, and then we'll give you some next steps, whether that be go see a professional, get a referral to this type of profession, or go see your doctor. I'll give you a great example. We have an employee that, and she's shared this publicly, and she's like, look, I signed up. I'm brand new to the company. I got my 100 app. I'm loving it. And we test lipase and amylase. Those are the enzymes that power your pancreas. I think we all know the pancreas is something to pay attention to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so she goes through and her results are 20 times the high. 20 times. Young, healthy gal. And so first off, she calls her friend who knows a good doctor and is like, look, I just started working for this company. I don't even want to go to them. Like, she didn't want to come to us. She's like, I don't know what's going on. I want to see. And so she talks to her friend's doctor and says like, hey, what should I do? Because this app is telling me I need to go to the emergency room. Like, I'm literally 4 days in, it's telling me I need to go to the emergency room. Doctor goes, great advice. You need to go to the emergency room. She goes to the emergency room and her pancreas is going to burst. And she would have never known. And so all the symptoms, it said in the app, do you have these symptoms? Yes, yes, yes. Like, is it hard for food and your digestion? And all of these things were yes. And she's like, I've been telling my mom, I've got these like pains, but I'm just getting older. Is this perimenopause? Like, she didn't understand what it was. She goes in and she said, there's two things that were great. One, I went in. Two, I knew what they were going to do. I knew they were going to scan my abdominal area, do a scan for me. So she was educated on what would happen. And then so we're not replacing her doctor. She has to go to the hospital. We are helping her do that. So we hear these stories all the time. She's one of our sales executives. She's like, people don't believe me when I tell them this. They think I'm just selling them and I show them my results. Like, it was 20 times the high. If she would have kept on that trajectory, who knows what would have happened, but she caught it early. And I think that's what's really important is these tests people say there's false negatives or, are these really necessary? For the cost, look, I would want peace of mind to know because Dr. Eve, our chief medical officer, said this great in our last, we did a panel and she said, the problems are there. You want to find them now or you want to find them later? Because they may not go away. Finding them sooner than later is always better because then you can treat them. When it's too late, that's the real problem. And so a lot of people are like, well, why should I do this? If I don't know about it, maybe I'm fine. Or, some people see something and they go down a rabbit hole of like, should I fix this and what's going on? And her response was great. She's like, look, you can have that mindset and that's totally fine. But the problem is there. I would want to see the problem before it's a much bigger problem. So I think about, for CAL FIRE Local 2881, think about like, people even going, I'm going to now go into my second life of retirement. I'm retiring. What are the toxins or the exposures or even the schedule, right? The schedule is even tough. What have I gone through this, long tenure of working and serving and going into that, knowing what does that look like? You just did all this great work. How do you come out of that? So you actually can, live that life outside of the force, Yeah.
When you say you compared to your equals, I think that's the word you use. Like so take me, my age male.
Yep.
in your database, do you have enough data to compare people? Because, everybody body will run different in some way, shape, or form. So those parameters you put, there's enough database, how they say 1 in 100 or however they come up with enough database.
I can show you mine. Yeah. So what we've done is we've taken an approach and we've taken large data scales. This data is already readily available. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny because you think your doctors would talk to you about this stuff, but I'll show you mine.
Well, your doctors, when you get your blood test, you see it. And if you're between 1 and 14, you're good, even if you're 13, right?
Yeah.
But that's comparing off a book that someone put in
correct
years ago.
Yeah, no, this is
like blood sugar has changed
totally.
Like almost every year it seems to change, you know what I mean? What levels are acceptable.
Well, and also as we get unhealthier, because our country is relative, we're known for being a little bit on the unhealthier side, those ranges get larger. So even if you're in the range, that doesn't mean
exactly. That's what
I'll give you a great example. Yeah. So let's just use testosterone.
Yeah.
A lot of people always, it's like, where's my testosterone at, right? Both male and female, by the way.
No, and it's so I don't know.
So so let's go in range. In range is 250 to 1100. Mm-hmm. Well, think about that range. I don't want to be in the 250 range, guys. Nobody wants to be in the 250 range. Mm-hmm. The optimal range is really around 400 to 700. Mm-hmm. That's the optimal. Now, other folks want to be higher than that. That's great. But if you look, here's mine. It tells where I'm at. And then I can see, hey, your testosterone total levels are greater than 70% of people your age and lower than 25% of men within the healthy range. So now I can see this is where I stand to my peers, which is really great because we're all kind of like, okay, is this good? Is this bad? Ooh, I'm in the top. Okay, that's great. How do I get that to be better? Or I'm in the bottom 5%. Yeah. Look, I need to focus on this. So we use a lot of data, large language.
Is that range? Because I had my testosterone tested years ago.
Yep.
I don't remember that high of numbers. They were like in the numbers were teens, not for like that you had to be in a range of teens.
What do you mean? For total testosterone?
Yeah, it was like from 1 to 15 or something like that was the level of testing back in the day. And they said, oh, you're 13. You're well within the 15.
They might have been using a different units of metrics. I don't know for that. Yeah. But you definitely don't want to be the teens for your total testosterone.
No, I know, but you're reading right there. I'm like, dang, but too much testosterone is not good either because then you come into prostate problems and things like that.
Yeah. So, and the app will go through that all with you. The one, units change, but two, we have these ranges and these ranges are from the lab. So we follow what the lab ranges are, but we also have come up with our physician team of what optimal ranges for males and females. And we use it off of large data as well. So you can compare yourself also to your peers. It's really important because 250 is extremely low. Mm-hmm. And if you go to your doctor, let's say you're at 260, 270, 300, you're doing great. Keep crushing it. You're doing fine.
As long as you don't drop below that low number.
Right. Yeah. And I would say most of us, I want to be optimal. Who doesn't want to be optimal? Yeah. And then I go, okay, if I'm not optimal, what should I see if I'm optimal? The app will tell you, if you're in the optimal range, this is what you should see: higher energy, better libido, more, better sleep. It's going to go through all of them. Of course I want all those things. And so it gives everybody a way to strive for this number that is in the optimal range. And so first things people goes, what am I out of range? What do I fix? Now I'm in range. What do I actually want to move the needle to get to optimal range? And everyone's different. Some people come to us when you come on board. Are you coming to us for weight loss, more energy, bad sleep, prevention, high blood pressure, whatever that may be? And what we do is
named every one of my issues.
What we do is we tailor the app around your goals too. And so if you're coming to us because you want better hormone, your hormones are out of range, you've been working on them, we're going to focus on those. Or you have bad sleep, we're going to help focus on that. We'll give you a nighttime mind down routine. We'll tell you what supplements can really help. We'll tell you what markers are out of balance, which are causing you probably to have bad sleep. So it's super in depth. And it's a lot of information, way more than you'll get from any of your primary care physicians for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our members and their families who sign up, part of the benefit is they get $100 off your supplement store.
Yeah.
So what makes your supplements, because there's a million out there.
Yep.
Some are trash, some are great. What makes your supplements? Why should we trust 100 Health supplements?
Yeah, so we don't have our own 100 branded supplements. We have made a stand. So when we first rolled this out to our first cohorts, the number one question was, what's the best place to buy my supplements? And I think everyone wants to know because we see so many ads. They're all over. Do I go to Amazon? Do I go to this company? Where do I go? So early on, we said, let's actually be a source for this for folks. And let's offer two really great things. So we built up a physician team, scientific advisory board, and their number one job is to vet brands. And what does vetting look like? Vetting looks like, one, they have to be third-party certified. We have to look at the CAV. It means we look at the tests that they do on their supplements, and we make sure that the ingredients on the packaging and inside of the bottle are what they state on the third-party testing. So high quality standards, number one, the highest. Today we have 29 brands, around 600 products. So none of them are 100 health products. They're really high quality brands. That's number one. The second thing is the margins are insane in supplements. So we said, let's pass that savings back to our members. If we pass the savings to our members, they'll stay with us longer. They will not have to think about cost barriers to supplements that are really important. So we take literally the smallest margin. And what we do is we pass that savings off. So right now, if you're buying supplements or vitamins, like you said, I will tell you, you go into our app, you look side by side, you will see on average a 20% savings. You can go anywhere. Amazon, which I would not recommend. A lot of fraud and dupes are on Amazon. Or you go to any other website. You can go to the same brand that we sell, and you will see a 15 to 20% discount. On our average, we're seeing members get 20%. And so, one, we want high quality brands, and two, we also want really, really great prices. We always guarantee the lowest possible price, and we give that back to the members because we want to make this. It's just a no brainer. Like, this is what 100 told me to do. I got to pay, but it's lower. Okay, I'm going to do that. And people are seeing really big changes. And we're seeing it not only from how they respond, but also from their follow-up. We had a guy come and said, do you sell belts in your marketplace? I'm down 20 pounds. We're like, that's awesome. Maybe we should could we have that quote? That's awesome. I love that. So that's what makes it different. We don't make or sell our own branded supplements. What we do is we partner with only the best. There's no pay to play. We'll pay you to put us in there. No, has to meet our standards from a scientific advisory board perspective. And then we have to also always offer the lowest possible price to our members.
Yeah, I was once a non-supplemental guy because I would say if not all of them are not FDA approved, which is a big scare. They're not really checked by a federal government entity. And they would say, and I remember a line from Big Bang, you're just peeing out. You're spending money to pee out the supplements.
Really expensive urine.
Yeah. So I didn't used to take them until actually they said, hey, you're no longer producing these. And you don't get enough in food. Yeah. So a lot of people think you get a lot of these in food if you eat the right food, though. Yeah. And a lot of firefighters eat like junk because we eat on the go. So.
Yeah. Food's tough. I'd say supplements is usually what we find are the easiest for people because I have to physically take something, I have it, and it's a routine, right? Yeah. Food is not a routine. Food timing and how much I eat is a routine, but the type of food is very non-routine. Yeah. And then on the exercise side, people are more inconsistent with exercise. Oh, I took my pills, but maybe I skipped a workout or I went in late. And so, what we found is, one, how do we make it easy? So the supplements are easy. We tell you exactly what to take, what dosage, where to purchase them, and the reasoning behind it. So now I'm taking this for my inflammation's high, my LDL is out of range. You'll now know this. The food side is a little bit different. What we found is we're going to tell you areas to focus on and what foods you're going to want to eat in there. But we also have a really cool feature where we want to make it easy for you to understand. So two things that we do. One, if you're out at dinner, you're on the go. Now take a photo of your menu. So if you're at a restaurant, take a photo of the menu. We'll tell you specifically what item to eat. So get the Chilean sea bass, substitute the twice baked potato for legumes. I'm like, oh gosh, I want the twice baked. Sounds so good. But it'll tell you what to do. And then it'll tell you, hey Tim, here's why we are doing this. Here's what it means for you. So psychologically, you're even like, now that I see it, should I, you're kind of like, it's almost like a little accountability partner. Or also we'll do a check-in. So we'll say, hey, it's time for you to check in. Just take a photo of everything you eat today. Really simple. We all know how to use our phone. The app will say that. Take a photo of your food. And what we'll do is we'll score it. And what we found is this. People know that they have to eat healthier that day, and they still eat healthier, and they still don't eat as healthy as they probably should be. Because we all it's just psychologically, it's hard to eat healthy, and be consistent with it. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll score the food, too high of a portion, not enough protein, et cetera, et cetera. And now at least you're getting these little micro feedback sessions. I don't think this will ever be fixed overnight from an individual. We have some folks that go all in and yes, I think the average consumer here goes, portion. You know what? 1/3 fist of protein, 1/3 of vegetables, 1/3 of some. So that's something they can hold on to. Small habit, but a small change. And they'll just hold on to that. We might give them 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of advice, but that's what they hold on to. And now you start to see that form. And now they do another thing, or like a sleep down routine. You have really poor sleep. Your wearables say it. You're not improving. Glycine might be on your protocol for a supplement and what it helps you do, but also, how's your screen time before this? Here's a little tip that you can do. Are you doing these things? Are you really doing breath work? Like, it'll give you things that you can take advantage of towards the goals that you've set. And so we're really big on making it easy, because at the end of the day, we're all busy. Yeah. Firefighters are really busy. Yeah. Like, Tyler, I don't got time to take a nap, take a photo of my food. I'm eating a freaking burrito on the road. Like it's busy. And so, that's how we think about it, because it's really tough to really follow these plans if you don't have help. And we've tried to make all these little things. Like, I'll give you another example. There's a lot of data. 160 biomarkers, all of this information. It's like, how am I supposed to remember all this? There's so much. So what we do is we do a weekly podcast like we're doing here. But what it is, it's a weekly podcast on Tim, about you, how you've done, if you have wearables, why we're doing these things, teaching you about one new thing out of range of why it's important. So it's an educational. We'll even ask you, hey, Tim, what podcast do you listen to? Of course, you're going to say this podcast, right? And then you're going to say, Joe Rogan, and I know I'm making stuff up, and Huberman. We'll curate that podcast in the tone and voice that you already consume, and it's all about you. So now you get to hear in how you hear other podcast consumption, and it's all about how you've done and what you need to think about this week. Or as you're grocery shopping, think about these types of foods. Or, hey, introduce one new food this week. Let's try this. Try a can of, sardines. Oh, I don't like, just try a can of sardines. It's so inexpensive. Try it. Here's why it's so great. I might like that. That's interesting. And this is what I'm doing to my body. And so we're really trying to meet people where they're at, but also give them these little tips and tricks to help them get to their greatest health of all time. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any lasting, if someone's on the fence about signing up?
Yeah.
What would be your final push to be like, hey, sign up?
Yeah. I think a couple things. One, look, it's less than $1. I think for you guys, we even give you guys another discount. It's like less than $1 a day, $1.26 a day. You're going to spend that on anything and everything, right? This is your health, and you get more than you'll ever get. I think that's one. Two is everyone's flying blind. I think that's really important. If you have a family, I think about it as like, this is what I owe myself to my family. I have 2 daughters. I have a wife. Like, I should look at this as, hey, I'm providing for my family by making sure I'm able to be there for them, and also be there to serve, right? Everyone here who's listening is serving, which is fantastic, and I'm grateful. It's like, how can I be the best version of myself from a health perspective? And so we made the price almost like a no-brainer, $100 in the supplement store. So now it's like, I've got something I can take action on, right? I can buy the supplements. We've tried to remove every, not excuse, but every roadblock to make it really easy. And I just think it's like, you owe it to yourself. I think we're such in a great time to be alive. It's like things are happening all the time. And there's this message out there, like, the better we stay healthy, it's only going to get better, because we're all going to live longer. But it's harder if you don't see things and you're flying blind, because what you don't want to do is see something in 10 years and now you can't change that. We all have loved ones, friends, family, or stories from our friends and family where this person was just flying blind. Next, this happened, like my dad, and heart attack, It's like, and if he would have just looked and saw his cholesterol and it was really elevated, his blood pressure, all these things, of course he'd want to still be here. Of course I'd want him still to be here. We all would. And so I think that's important when you think about family. I always tell people, think about your family. Like, we all have family, and like, we're just coming off of watch. Who doesn't want to watch the Super Bowl with their family again? Who doesn't want to, go to the next event with their family, or to see their grandkids, et cetera? That's how I think about it. And we've tried to make it so it's easy, it's really understandable, and it's convenient. Like, going to the doctor for an hour, seeing a doctor for 10 minutes, not really convenient.
No. You'll
get more information back and your time back by using 100. And so, like, look, we're really excited about the partnership. And I think that when you think about it, I would think for even firefighters, like, whether you're currently active or thinking about retirement, which is coming, right? Understanding this is really, really important, because then you can, act. And that might be small habits, or that might be something more serious to go in and talk to a doctor about. So yeah, it's a long answer, but that's how I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say with firefighting as a whole today, what the job does to your body, not just physically, but biologically, is starting to be more important to firefighters. So this is an avenue to get one more eyesight into what's happening biologically with your body.
Yeah. I can tell you, we will not let you down. I know that. Like the insights that you will get will be really insightful and helpful. Yeah.
Gosh, I should sign up.
We should get you.
Thanks. Well, thanks for joining us. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah.